K-beauty has been trending over the last 2 decades or so in Japan, and I'm sure since the start of the BB cream trend, it's been pretty popular in Western countries as well. And now it would seem South Korea is stretching its fragrance muscle. Since South Korea is so flavorful in the cuisine department, I'm not surprised. Korean perfume brands aim to attract customers who are drawn to the allure of exclusivity, quality, and artistry. Some niche market products I'm aware of in the land of kimchi include, and apologies if I mispronounce them, and I will include them below, Tambourines, Nonfiction, Grand Hand, Passade, SW19, Visum, and the one I'm going to talk about today, Youssoful. Last June of this year, I went to Korea for a long weekend and enjoyed a fair bit of shopping, picking up a few goodies from this brand, Youssoful. And I'll link to that video somewhere up here and also below. Youssoful produces perfumes, candles, and room diffusers, and their best-selling fragrance is Saint Moritz, which it smells great, but I wasn't really blown away by because it's a little bit too mainstream and freshies are not my forte. I'm pretty much drawn to the warmth, spice, wood, and amber flavors of scents, and I think that comes through in the 3 that I picked out from the brand on that trip to Seoul. And now that we're well into autumn, it's quite appropriate that I talk about these, finally. The first one is Santal Sequoia. To me, this is an obvious dupe for Le Labo's Santal 33. The wood notes are strong, and the ambrox or the ambroxan or whatever it is in here keeps this going on for hours. All the fragrances I sniffed in this house seem to be branded as extrait de parfum, which means they're going to be more intensely packed in smell than an EDP. So I guess as long as that's not just the marketing, if it's really true, then yeah, that would explain their longevity and punch. Here are the notes in this one. I am indeed a fan of Le Labo's fragrances, especially for Santal 33. I think it is my favorite. I came across this at the price it was, and I think these go for about, I don't know, somewhere more closer to the $50 range than the 100. And if you know Le Labo, you know how expensive their fragrance is. So, of course, any Le Labo dupe I'm going to be attracted to, especially if it's a Santal 33. So it didn't take me much time to grab this one right away. And this dupe, I'm happy to report, is much better than the last one I reviewed, which I believe was Zara's Energetically New York. Oh, it trumps that one big time. So it's Scent Gourmand approved as an excellent alternative. It does have the same notes after all. The only difference is there's an addition of musk here, which I don't think the original has. And I don't think there's cedar in here, which the original does have. This one is smooth, not screechy, it's not insecticide-like. If you're not familiar with Santal 33, know that it can be a tad polarizing. And so if you don't think you'd adore powdery sandalwood and papyrus, can be polarizing, soaked in like refreshing cucumber water, no cucumber here, but that's the feeling it brings to mind, then I'd stay clear of this one, but I love this. And I also got a free travel size version when I picked this up. Now, while many people say that Santal 33 is masculine leaning, I feel it's pretty unisex. But this one, Kingsman, if any scent of these 3 I'm talking about is going to lean masculine, it is this one. But of course, that doesn't mean you need to be masculine to wear it. It simply means the note composition is traditionally more associated with dudes. So there's leather and vetiver in here, for example. And I guess you'll appreciate this when you see the notes. No florals, no fruit, no frosting, but lots of different woods, leather, warmed up with amber and tonka bean on a fresh and grassy vetiver base. There's no syrupy sweetness in either of these 2 fragrances, and yet they're both warm and savory as opposed to cool and dry. I don't know if Kingsman is duping anything, but to me this is extremely Tom Ford-esque. Or it could be a spirit of Dubai type of thing. This is a very sexy fall fragrance. The oud note in here, oud, agarwood, is perceptible, but it is a fake note. And fake agarwood or oud can be a tad nasty, I think. But there's only enough in here to add a little bit of come-hitherness. It doesn't scream oud. I really like how the cypress and vetiver add like a freshness that balances the fragrance out. And also there's almost a sweetness with the tonka bean and amber. It's well-rounded. And again, I would wear this, but I think the mainstream market would definitely classify this as a scent for guys. And I tell you, if my man were wearing this, yeah, I'd want to eat him. I'll settle for devouring myself at present. The third and final bottle is Milan Fever. It's another warm and fall-appropriate fragrance with little in the way of florals, typically how I like it. I believe this one is more for the ladies, but I think it's also can be worn by men. It's very sexy. In a sophisticated way. Here are the notes. This one is aromatic and there's lavender in here, but the bitter almond and tonka bean really shine through in this. It's smooth, seductive, powdery, creamy, and it's familiar. I can't quite put my finger on it. I know Guerlain's La Petite Robe Noire has bitter almond in it, but the bitter almond in here is far more perceptible. This is much better in my opinion. But it doesn't smell the same as that. No, it's something else I'm thinking of. Of the three that I've tried here, this one is also the most gourmand, in addition to perhaps the most feminine. I'm trying to figure out where the tastiness comes from. Perhaps it's simply due to the tonka bean and the amber. This is the type of fragrance I recommend putting on your scarf when you're going out on a cool day. When you move around on walkabout and catch a whiff of it, you'll be summoned to press your scarf against your nose and drink it in. Beautiful. My friend in Seoul also bought a bottle for herself. She was convinced. You know what? I think I just, yeah, this is also very Tom Ford-esque. Let me Google it. Yes, my friends, I Googled the notes, and indeed, this is a dupe for Effing Fabulous by Tom Ford. Same notes almost. That leather and bitter almond with the interesting sage and lavender opening. It is. So despite my feelings on this being more of a dupe house than anything that would warrant admiration for originality, I'm still impressed by this house. I'm glad I discovered it, and there are a few reasons for that. First is obviously the value for money. I can't recall the exact price I paid, but certainly it was less than $50, I think, for, how much is this? This is 50 ml. And I'm talking Canadian dollars here, not American. Also, you get quite a lot of bang for your buck because these are, or at least the ones I chose, were not only extrait de parfum, but the notes on this were the type of notes that last a long time. And these do last a long time, but you can see I've used quite a bit of each of the bottles, and I have wanted to respritz them, but that's more because I just love the scent. I want to smell it on myself more than for the fact that the scent's disappearing, if you know what I mean. And second, if you're the type of person that's into layering, because the cost of these is so good, you can experiment a little with these. And the woman at the counter who sold these was suggesting some layering techniques. So, you know, if you have a few pennies, pick up a few of these next time you're in Korea and experiment. And third, although there are indeed a lot of ingredients from popular fragrances in the house, they're not like perfect dupes for the originals. They still managed to put their own spin on things. I did manage to get a sniff of pretty much almost everything they currently had in the house, and they reminded me for the most part of things I'd already smelled. So again, not much in originality, but still different. They have one called Côte d'Azur, which is inspired by Jo Malone's wood, sage, and sea salt, and I think next time I'm in Korea visiting my friend, I'm gonna grab that one. Unfortunately, I think it will likely be tricky for you guys outside of Korea to get these scents because they have an online website, but A, it's only in Korea, and B, I'm not sure if they ship internationally. So good excuse to head over to the land of hangul and kimchi, you know? Youssoful is definitely worth checking out, and I'm going to make an effort to visit some of the shops of the others I mentioned earlier on. So that's it, my lovelies. Smell you later. Scent Gourmand signing out. Bye-bye. Mwah.